How's it going, guys, and welcome to another Java video. So in this video we're going to be going over one of my personal favorite programs, and that is the Fibonacci sequence. And I'm sure most of you, if not all of you guys, have already heard about the Fibonacci sequence, and if you forgot or haven't learned about it, let me give you guys a quick explanation. So in the Fibonacci sequence, it's a sequence that continues on forever, and basically in order to get to the next term in the sequence you have to add up the previous two terms. So the current term that you're on is the sum of the previous two terms. So we can explain that by n is equal to n minus 1 plus n minus 2. So n is equal to n minus 1, which is the term right before it, plus n minus 2, which is the second last term. Here, if we say, for example, want this term right here, right after this 5, how would we do it? Well, we would take the previous two terms and we would add it together. And 13 is equivalent to 8 plus 5, 21 is equivalent to 13 plus 8, and so on and so forth. So how would we do this? So there's a lot of ways to go about doing this. I'm going to show you possibly the easiest way, that just implements a for loop. So it's done in O of n time, and it just basically overrides one term and replaces it with the next term. So let's go ahead and start this. So first of all, we're going to define the first two terms so that the program knows what we're doing. So it knows the first two terms, or else it's just going to be impossible. So we're going to define term 1 is equal to 0, and then term 2 is equal to 1. So we're going to go and we're going to implement a for loop that goes through every single number, and let's say we want to spit out the first 20 terms in the Fibonacci sequence. And so we're going to have a for loop that starts at 0 and then works until the 20th term, and then just increments the value. So what we have to do is we want to first print out the value that comes first. So we can just write print and just write t1, and then we want to separate this with a comma so it looks nice. That's all this line is doing. Next, we want to take the very first value and replace it with term 2. So in other words, term 1 will now be equivalent to term 2. How would we do that? Well, simple, we just write term 1 is equal to term 2. And now if we want to have some current value, so the term that we're currently on, what we can do here is have, let's say for example, int current val, or the current value that you are on, is equivalent to term 1 plus term 2. So this value right here is technically going to be our third value once we go through the loop once. So then term 1 is now equivalent to term 2, and then term 2 is now equivalent to the next term in the list. So how would we do that? Well, term 2 is equal to current val. That's the entire code. It's a very simple program, but a lot of people overcomplicate it, but they don't realize that in order to get to one term, all you have to do is just set the first term equivalent to the second term, and then the second term equivalent to the third term, and then the third term, which is the term that you currently are on, is just equivalent to the term 1 plus term 2. And that's exactly what this right here is doing. So let's go ahead and run this and see what happens. So as you can see, it prints out exactly what we want. So it goes from 0, 1, and then 0 plus 1 is 1, and then 2, which is 1 plus 1, 3 is 2 plus 1, and then so on and so forth. So I really hope this video helped, and if you have another way, if you have a better way, please put your solution in the comment section below, and I'll see you in the next tutorial. Thank you for watching, and please like, share, and subscribe.